when Nissan launched the second-generation Leaf at the end of 2017, despite being a significant improvement in almost every way compared to the original, it still came up slightly short in some respects. The problem is that it arrived around the same time as the Chevrolet Bolt and ahead of the Tesla Model 3. Those cars and others going on sale about now, significantly upped the ante for performance and range. At CES 2019, Nissan is debuting the Leaf Plus that pretty much addresses those concerns. The 2018 Leaf got a 50% bump in range from the 2017 to 150 miles. Compared to the 73 miles of driving range that was available back in December 2010 when the first examples were being delivered to American customers, that was a huge improvement, generally making the Leaf much more viable as a primary vehicle for many drivers. However, add in winter cold or summer heat and that could easily drop back to 100 miles or less. The Bolt offers a nominal 238 miles and the new Hyundai Kona EV goes all the way to 258 miles. In exchange, Nissan offered a better value proposition with a starting price before incentives of just $30,000. That variation remains available, but for those that really feel like they need some extra range, Nissan is now offering an option that pretty much matches the competition in the Leaf Plus. Visually, you won't notice much difference in the Plus version. Externally, there are some new blue accents in the front and rear fascia. Under the charge port door is a new E Plus logo plate. The blue theme continues to the interior with blue contrast stitching on the steering wheel, seats and instrument panel. The Plus also gets a larger 8-inch touchscreen replacing the former 7-inch unit. Hopefully, the new screen also addresses one of my only complaints about the 2018 version, the quality of the display. The old display was notably dim and lacking in contrast compared to many other current units. But the real news lies in the stuff you can't see, notably the motor and battery pack. The standard 40 kWh lithium-ion battery has grown by half again to 62 kWh. That's enough to add another 76 miles to the driving range, bringing the EPA estimated total to 226 miles. The battery continues to be supplied by AESC, Nissan's in-house battery division that is in the process of being sold to China's Envision Group. Like all prior iterations of the Leaf, it is still air-cooled, running contrary to the industry conventions. Also contrary to some earlier speculation, Nissan hasn't switched to LG Chem as a cell supplier. A larger capacity and range means the Leaf Plus will need more electrons pumped in to achieve the full range. Thankfully, the DC fast charging capacity has also been boosted from 50 kilowatts to 70 kilowatts with peak charging possible at up to 100 kilowatts. That should allow the larger battery to reach full charge in close to the same time as the 40 kilowatt-hour unit. The fast charging system retains the CHAdeMO standard. Since the battery is air-cooled, Nissan manages the charge rate in part based on the temperature. Fortunately for Leaf Plus drivers, Electrify America is including CHAdeMO connectors in all of the charging stations it is currently deploying. By the end of the summer, more than 500 stations across 40 states with chargers capable 150 to 350 kilowatts charging will be available. This will include stations within 140 miles on all of the major cross-country highway routes. Combined with the 226-mile range, this should finally the Leaf a viable long-distance road trip car. While the 110 kilowatts drive motor in the 2018 Leaf wasn't exactly a slug, it too lags behind the 150 kilowatts offered by Chevrolet and Hyundai. The Leaf Plus addresses that deficit as well with a bump to 160 kilowatts and 250 pounds-ft of torque. Much of this improvement will be felt at higher speeds where the previous Leaf had a fall off. With a claimed 13% improvement in 50 to 75 mph acceleration, the Leaf should have a much easier time merging into highway traffic. When you get to your destination, Nissan has tried to make life a bit easier as well. The new navigation system in the Leaf can be connected to your phone to provide door-to-door directions for walking and driving, so you can get where you need to be after parking the car. Nissan hasn't yet announced pricing or on-sale date for the upgraded Leaf Plus, but it seems likely to come in somewhere around the same magical $37,500 threshold as competitors. That gets customers down to $30,000 after the federal tax break, at least until Nissan hits the 200,000 cumulative sales that will trigger a phase-out of the tax credit. For those that like the Leaf and just wanted more range or a bit more performance, the Plus is likely to be just the ticket to meet your needs.
The hottest Subaru to ever grace the US is less than a week away from being unveiled at the 2019 Detroit Auto Show, and now, we've got our best look at the S209 yet. Subaru took to Twitter to tease its S209 one more time before its debut in Detroit. This teaser offers up a good bit of the front end. My eye spies some big ol' fender flares and a pair of canards on the lower bumper. The rest of the front end remains obscured, so in all likelihood it'll carry some more aggressive aero in those locations too. While the loops are definitely part of the S-Series appeal, the S209's powertrain remains a mystery. The S208 of your world's a 2.0-liter turbocharged H4 engine, but in the US, we're still making do with the tried-and-true 2.5-liter H4 turbo. A South African STI variant using this engine managed to eke out 349 horsepower. It's possible the S209 could see an output that high, but at the least, it will probably outpower the 310 horsepower STI Type RA. Based on what the S208 brought to the table, it wouldn't be obscene to expect the S209 to pack some handling improvements by way of upgraded suspension components, along with some fancy wheels and the aforementioned aero. In all likelihood, it'll be a limited edition model as in iterations past. Subaru only built 450 examples of the S208, and owners were determined through a lottery. Whether Subaru will go through that rigmarole again has yet to be seen, but we'll know much more when we see the debut in Detroit next week.
Nissan unveiled a new, more powerful version of its Leaf electric car Tuesday that will compete more directly against cars like the Chevrolet Bolt EV and, eventually, the base version of the Tesla Model 3. While a major selling point for the Leaf has been its relatively low price, at thousands of dollars less than the Bolt EV, it also offered less power and driving range. The new Nissan Leaf Plus will be closer to the Bolt EV in range and, presumably, in price. The final price of the car will be announced later. The Nissan Leaf Plus can go 226 miles on a single charge, which is much closer to the Chevrolet Bolt EV's range. It can also go faster and accelerate more quickly than the base model Nissan Leaf. Its price will probably be considerably closer to the $36,000 starting price of the Bolt EV. The Tesla Model 3 has a theoretical starting price of about $35,000 for a version with a range similar to that of the Leaf Plus, but Tesla has not yet started producing that entry-level car. The $30,000 base Nissan Leaf will still be available for customers who want to spend less and who are just fine with going 150 miles between charges. That is, after all, much farther than the average person drives on a typical day. But the new Leaf Plus will allow Nissan to attract those customers willing to pay for a little more performance and less worry about range. In addition to a more energy-dense battery pack, the Leaf Plus also has a more powerful electric motor producing up to 160 kilowatts, or 215 horsepower, compared to 110 kilowatts in the base model. Accelerating from 50 to 75 miles an hour can be done 13% more quickly, according to Nissan, and the top speed is also increased from 90 miles an hour to 100. The battery pack is almost the same size as the one used in the base model Nissan Leaf. Like the base Leaf, it will be available with Nissan's Pro Pilot Assist system, which combines adaptive cruise control, in which radar is used to maintain a safe following distance behind other cars on the highway, and a lane-keeping assistance system. Like many other electric cars, including the base Leaf, it will also be drivable with just the accelerator pedal alone most of the time, with the brake pedal needed only for emergency stops. The Nissan Leaf Plus will be available in Japan this month, and in the United States and Europe later this year.